the short link. Go ahead.
All right. Well, welcome to Have Your Best Week Ever. You have Howard White and Steve Rosenbaum hanging out on I had to think about it, man. I thought the weekend seemed like it'd been a week continuation. Didn't have a weekend. So it's a Monday night. Steve, how you doing over in, I'm so used to saying Austin, but it's actually, Waxahachie, Texas
now? I'm in Waxahachie now. How are you, Howard?
We're doing good, getting gooder.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Hey, don't mind me. I'm out here in the dark smoking my cigar. It's just a gorgeous night out.
Yeah, it is a gorgeous night out. And, one of Steve's, for those of you jumping on that don't know Steve Rosenbaum, I'm going to introduce him a little bit later, but one of his biggest clients, not biggest clients necessarily, but one of his favorite clients, and I know that for a fact.
Definitely.
Shop down in Austin, Texas, that he took from one location to 2 locations and a great internet presence. So that is part of what Steve does.
Howard, do they know about your vice? Do they know that you love cigars also?
No, they don't.
Okay.
Some of my people do. That's one of my vices. That's one of the things that I love to do.
Because I got the video to prove it. I got videos of you rolling a cigar.
Yes. That's the great thing about Babaluba. I actually showed someone the website there, and actually the webcam, the cigar webcam. It was after hours. It was like they actually have this on someone working all day. I said, yeah, they're rolling cigars. This is the Master Rollers workstation right here.
All the time.
Yeah.
Hey, if those dogs are bothering anybody, let me know and I'll go put them inside.
No, like they just want to be heard. That's all. Yeah, one of the things that I do, and I forgot to do a little earlier, I'm going to go over and change the permission settings on the Facebook group. We have Your Best Week Ever, which a lot of the tools that we normally talk about, this week is going to be a little different, but a lot of the tools that we talk about, we have them there for members to join and download. So that is, you see me looking at the screen funny here, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going over changing those settings. And Steve, what do you hang out with your members on Facebook? If you would talk about that a little bit to folks that as they're getting on before we really get into what we're going to talk about, the power of Facebook groups.
Yeah, I've got one that is partially closed. I say it's partially closed, and that I will let anybody that seems reasonable in until they prove themselves unreasonable. But and it's called Best Small Biz Group. And anybody that's interested in business, I'd love them to come hang out in our Facebook group with us. It's all about making business great again. Donald Trump stole my line because I'm always talking about making business great again. And so Donald sends me a royalty check every now and then. But so we talk about that in our Facebook group, and it's great. And it's great because we share best practices. And we have people literally from all over the world that talk about what's working for them, and it's cool.
Yeah, and that's the key thing is that groups like this is a great place to hang out and not get lost, because the internet is huge. The Facebook, just inside of Facebook, you can get lost for hours inside of Facebook, but a group is that small place to communicate with like-minded people. I think that's the best way to put it. Yeah, you communicate with like-minded people and people with kind of a common mission, I guess, if you would say it.
That's exactly right. So for us, our common mission is any entrepreneur, anybody that's in business, anybody that helps businesses, that's our common mission. You're exactly right. And so it is. It's a cool place because you see people going there all the time. If they need some help, they ask a question, and usually somebody helps them. If they have a great story to share, a success story, then they share it with everybody there also. So it's really, as you say, it's a common mission.
And that's something I got to do. I always tell my clients to be more social, and so that's one of the things I got to do is to make sure that I'm more social when I'm inside of my groups. and schedule time to do that. I think that's a key thing, is to schedule time to go inside of your groups and interact, and not only share your wins, share some of your losses and your I call them missteps. I don't call them losses. I call them missteps. They're not mistakes. They're missteps. You just actually stepped the wrong direction or the wrong place, maybe.
I love that. I love that, Howard. And I love that you share that, because, even though you're very successful and I've had my share of successes also, it doesn't mean we haven't had our missteps. And, frankly, those are some of the best learning experiences out there. I think you learn more from a misstep than you can from a grand slam sometimes.
Yeah, I totally agree. The grand slam is a whole lot more fun, and the crowd cheers for you. That strike out when the bases are loaded.
Much fun.
It make you focus a lot different on the pitcher the next time up, I think.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and for those of you who you don't know, my son plays baseball, so right now this time of the year is that time of the year, and just coming back from Florida, spring training, and I mean that's all that was all the sports on the news. I mean, the down in Orlando area was the spring training and all that going on.
Cool. What level is he in baseball?
He's a junior in high school, so he pitches and plays on the right side of the field, first base and right field.
Has he got your size?
He's taller than I am now.
Wow.
Yeah, he's 6'4".
Wow.
Walks by me every day and kind of look down like, okay, Dad, I got you now. I have to throw him the chicken wing and I poke him in the in the stomach, so you have to bend down. So okay, so you're not as tall as you think you are. So yeah, that's the fun part about kids. I know Steve, as we introduced, and that's something as folks are listening on is the key to know that as we're human also. We have families, we have all the things that you have going on, and that's why you want to connect with people and have people to help you grow and really be more. And that's where we came up with Have Your Best Week Ever. I just want to share with new viewers, the reason we have Your Best Week Ever is that, I mean, really a week is just enough time to make an impact. But if things don't go great, it's short enough time to recalibrate. And a lot of times we look at our monthly sales, our quarterly sales, but really we should be looking at daily and weekly. And that week time is enough time to really hit that reset button. And that's why we came up with Have Your Best Week Ever. I always like to say it that way. Well, I want to go ahead and get started. Like I said, welcome to Have Your Best Week Ever for all those folks. And I just kind of gave you behind it. Tonight I have a special guest on, a guy that's helping me out with some things. As Steve said, he's a back-end specialist. We're not talking about workout. This will not be a workout video or talking about how to get in shape, but how to get your business in shape. And, that's what Steve helps you do. Steve, if you would just share a little bit about your background, because a lot of times I love for people to know what I call the backstory. Everybody have a story, but that backstory is the one that really set you up to where you are today.
Well, Howard, thank you so much for having me here. And by the way, I learn a lot from Howard also. I love your books. I love your stories. And I love your practical tips for success. I try to share much the same way. And I like to teach from experience because, look at all this gray hair. That comes from experience. It actually comes from having a daughter, but it also comes from experience. I am only 29. But the reality is, I've had that roller coaster, and I still have the roller coaster. Sure, my knock on wood, things are a lot stabler today and a lot better today, and the dips aren't quite as bad as they once were. But man, life gets in the way all the time. We're wrestling with some health issues in my family right now. So we're human just like all of you. But in terms of my career and my success, I spent nearly 25 years in the corporate world, in that rat race, and really 15 years too long in there. Okay. I always worked very hard for my companies for a lot of reasons. I would tell them straight up. I said, I'm going to be your number one guy, and you're either going to promote me or you're going to lose me to the competition. It's going to be one or the other.
I like that.
It's happened many times. It's happened many times. And along the way, I always mentored people. I always trained my successor. And that did me in a couple times. There's a couple times where I trained my successor so well, they said, hey, we're paying that guy half as much as we're paying you. So thanks for training him so well. Bye-bye.
You can go now.
Yeah. So there's the door. And so that's happened too. So, okay, that's life. That's what happens. That's the corporate world. Finally, I got fed up with it. And the last time I got fired, I said, this is the last time I'm going to get fired. I'm never working for anybody again except for myself. And so, you know, that day I went out and I got my first 2 clients and haven't looked back since. But I specialize in something, and I have the entire time I was in business, and now. I'm so sorry about the dogs, folks. Howard, is it as bad there as it is here? The dog?
I think it's okay. I mean, it's not that loud. I think it's okay. A little louder for you. So
you tell me if it gets distracting. I'll mute for 2 seconds and throw them inside.
Okay.
I thought they'd be good, but I don't know why they would change. But anyways, so the last time I got fired, went into business myself, and I said, you know, I have always focused, and my success has always come. Now I call it the back end, and I didn't really understand the words at that time. And the fact is, it was Bob Ballou, the cigar guy, that really gave me that name, the back end specialist. And the first time that I called on him, and I failed. I failed to sell him the first time that I went in to call on him because he didn't understand what differentiated me from all the other marketing consultants out there. And when I finally said, but I'm different, I focused on the back end of the marketing funnel. What I mean by that is, after you make a sale, I make sure they come back and buy from you again and again and again and again. Everybody else focuses on the front end. They want to get you number 1 on search engine optimization. They want to get you, they want to get you a lot of likes in Facebook. They want to get you more traffic, but they don't focus on converting the sale and bringing that customer back to maximize the revenue per customer. That's what I do. I focus on the back end. You could call me a back end specialist. And he pointed at me just like this. He says, that's what I need. I need a back end specialist. I've been the back end specialist ever since.
I think you said something very key there, Steve, that any business owner that's listening should take in is that lifetime value. Because when you're able to focus on the back end, that's when you're going to really drive some revenue. Yeah, I think it's getting a little out, Steve, on the dogs.
If you give me 1 second, you talk, I'm going to mute and throw them inside.
Okay. Yeah, so as Steve was saying, you really focus on that back end, and that's the key thing with that is that you want to get those repeat sales. How do you drive those repeat sales? And that's something that's very key. And no matter what business you're in, because there's a cost to acquire the client. There's a cost of acquisition. And so whatever that cost is, you need to understand that cost. But the cheapest sale is always second through eternity. The cheapest sale is always the second transaction through eternity. The first transaction costs you a lot. Sometimes you make no money on the first transaction with the client. So be comfortable with that and understand that. And that's what having a great back end specialist will do for you. So as we were here tonight, normally on Sunday nights, we spend a little time helping you with 1 tip or 2 that will help you have your best week ever. And that's the key thing, is having your best week ever. So normally it's on Sunday nights. As you know, if you check your clock, you didn't have a leap day. You didn't have the clock didn't spring ahead a whole day. It was only an hour this week. But so we were really actually on Monday. And that was because I had a chance to go down to John Maxwell. For those of you that are just joining in with us, John Maxwell is one of my coaches and part of his leadership and training team. And so I spent a whole day down yesterday and I said, hey, let me just think about some key things that I heard, some of those nuggets. I like to call them nuggets, but really reflection. And so as you go to a conference, I challenge you to do that. Yeah, you're taking all these great notes, but then separate the great notes from the gooder notes, those notes, that things that really resonate with you, the things that kind of make you think differently, give you a different perspective. And so just want to share some of those things and really, and we're going to interact on those, and hopefully it'll help you a little bit. And as we go through them, we'll, try to point out and share some stories of missteps, not mistakes, but missteps that we've had in our business and how we've learned from some of those things. One of the first things that I heard John say as we were listening yesterday, he was doing a teaching on partnerships, the power of partnership. So he took the word partner and broke it down, had an acronym for each letter of the word partner. But one of the things that he said, don't be a ladder climber, be a ladder builder. Don't be a ladder climber, be a ladder builder. And, what he was saying out of that is don't look for ladders that are already leading against walls to climb. Identify walls and build the ladder and take a team with you. So, just think about that in your business. As a small business owner, sometimes we're looking to go into markets that are already existing versus creating that demand ourselves. To me, that's what I kind of get out of that as a small business owner. What are your thoughts on that, Steve?
Howard, I'm muted because I didn't want any of the noise to distract you. No, I love that. I love that concept of the ladder.
Yeah, then, so as I'm looking here, there's another one that he said, as a small business owner or in partnerships, the answer is always yes. The answer is always yes. And, and I took that a step further. I'm an acronym person, as, most of you know, that yielding excellent service. So the answer is always yes, because I'm yielding excellent service. And that's where we have to be. We have to be in that service business. That was something that just really stuck with me.
Howard, can I tell you a story about that?
Yes, please do. Please share a story.
I almost wrote an email about an experience that I had 2 days ago about that, about the answer is always yes. I was going to sign up for a membership at a gym, and I was sold. I walked in there, knew what I want, and walked in and sat down, and she's talking to me and showing me the options, and I'm about to sign up for something about $300, and I'm going into, I literally went into my shorts, took out my wallet, opened it up, took out the credit card, and I'm holding it. And I asked her a very simple, just billing thing. I just said, look, I need some help on how we're going to set up this billing. And it was a simple thing. Any 10-year-old could have figured it out. She says, no, we don't do it that way. And I said, well, why not? Why can't you just do this and this? And her answer was, well, it's our policy.
Wow.
I hate that word policy. Policy is something that people say when they don't know what else to say. In other words, it means I really don't know why. Okay. Well, and had she figured it out,
policy sounds like police.
Yeah, policy does have that word police at its root. And the bottom line is, I bet you if I talked to any other person at that business, they could have figured a way to say yes. This was not like an unreasonable request. This was just something about, hey, I need a slight accommodation in terms of the billing. It had to do with the day of the month it was falling on. Could have figured out a way, could have prorated something, blah, 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 blah. Bottom line is, she lost a $300 sale. I drove to a gym 30 miles away, okay, and signed up and paid them more, okay? And I didn't want to do that because I don't know if I'm going to drive 30 miles to go to the gym. But the bottom line is, she unsold that sale. Even if the sale was sold, she unsold it because of exactly what you just said.
Yeah, so I mean, as you're thinking about it, you're working with your clients, the answer has to be yes. Now, you may have to figure out how you're going to make it accurate sometimes, but if your client has a need, and I always like to say this, they come to you for problems, but they pay you for solutions.
Love that, Howard. That's beautiful.
You know, they come to you for problems, but they pay you for solutions. You know, here's another one that, you know, those of you that are not familiar with John Maxwell, highly successful. He has 4 different businesses, all of them are multi-million-dollar businesses. And I say multi-million, I'm not talking barely a million. Here's a guy that probably has 10 or 15 books that have sold over 1 million copies. And I mean, just is still churning them out. But one of the things he said, he tell his team is don't ever bring a problem without 3 solutions. Don't ever come to me with a problem. You can bring all the problems in the world, but when you come, bring the solutions with you.
Love it.
I mean, how powerful is that as a business owner to empower your team to create solutions?
Love it.
I think that is the framework in which you should position it as, really, guys, I'm empowering you to bring solutions to the table. If something's not working, or if you see it could be better, don't just tell me that it's wrong. Hey, bring some solutions to the table. Let's make it work. I know you got tons of stories around that.
Check your email box tonight. Check your email box tonight. I wrote an email right before getting on. I've started a new program, email, just telling stories, just telling success, missteps, and everything. And I've done that before in a series that's called Rainmaker, Real Life Adventures of a Rainmaker at rainmakermaker.com. And I love doing that. It's one of the favorite things I've ever done. And I decided to start doing it again. Part of the reason is because I'm about to launch a brand new podcast. And my podcast is largely going to be based on my stories. So yes, I've got plenty of stories about that, Howard.
Now, have you solidified the name of that podcast yet, Steve?
No, that's we're literally, I'm meeting with my producer on Thursday to do that. I've got a few. Making Business Great Again, or Making Main Street Great Again is one of the working titles. But you know, we're still working on it. You got any ideas for me?
You know, I did. I know when we talked the last time, I had something. Making Main Street Great. Something tying your name into it. I have to go back and look at my notes from our meeting. And
well, did you say with the great one, Steve Rosenbaum, or something like that? With the great Steve Rosenbaum, it was something like that.
It was. I have to go back and think about that.
I think I wrote it down in my books. By the way, you recognize this?
Yeah. That is a great planner, as you can see.
That's a great planner. I love this planner. I use it every day. So I've been writing my stories in here. So chances are that note's in here somewhere.
Yeah. So that's that's the key thing is that, as we always say, is the dullest pencil is always better than the sharpest mind. So you got to make sure you write things down.
Well, thank you for that beautiful book, because I do. I take that with me everywhere.
Oh, great. And, one of the things that, as we sat there and listened to John, he talked about how important it was to appreciate people and appreciate your team, because he said, if you don't appreciate them, then they're going to go somewhere else. And I think you kind of alluded to that a little bit when you talked, you told your superiors that you were going to be the best. I'm going to be your top guy. Either you're going to promote me or you're going to lose me. And, so we got to be careful as business owners, making sure we appreciate our team. And in today's world, you have a virtual team. How do you appreciate your virtual team, Steve?
Well, by the way, I'm really glad you said that, because that ties into my Facebook group too. See, I've got a little bit of the same problem you have in terms of time. And truth be told, I don't spend as much time in my Facebook group as I'd like, but the reality is I have such a great community that they fill in a lot of those holes for me. So it's not always expected for me to be in there all times. And one of those people is my virtual team. Now, some of the way I reward them, there's one guy in particular who has risen up, and he did it by hard work. He did it by taking action. He did it by having successes and missteps and being there for others, including in the community. And the bottom line is I've given him a leadership role. And with that leadership role is opportunity. one opportunity that I'm fortunate and blessed to be able to give to him is a little bit of a platform, because you know, you and I, we've worked hard to build a following, and the good news is that's something of great value. So I've rewarded some people on my team by giving them a platform when I know them and I trust them and I'm proud of them. Then one of the ways I can reward them that means more than even financially is to give them a little bit of a platform and give them the freedom to say what they want to say.
So you're really showing them appreciation. I mean, that's what it is. By saying, hey, here's an opportunity to share with others, because what you've given to me and what you've learned over the years, you have value now. I mean, you have some value to share with others.
And the recognition, you know, I mean, you know, 15,000 odd people following me in all these different places. And yet here's one guy that I'm putting forward and saying, this is a guy you should listen to. This is kind of my right-hand guy. And that in my circle, that carries some clout.
You know, that leads into something that I'll say. I'm looking at notes, and that's why the only reason I'm looking down here. So I just want folks to know that what you just said, it's, you know, and I wrote this down, and I don't know if it's an exact quote, but it says, add value to the few first. And then, of course, this part is me, be good and get gooder. Start where I am and get bigger. You know, how many times do you get clients that, you know, they want to be that huge, want to have a huge audience to start with versus adding value to the people they're connected to?
That sounds like a back end issue to me.
Yeah. So they got to figure out how to add value. And then as people grow, you're continuously adding value. And in today's world, it has to be automated. You have to have a system in place to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see here. I'm just looking for notes here as I was putting them. As you guys can see, that this was really, I think we spent about 13 hours yesterday.
Wow.
I mean, breakfast started at 6:30, first class is at 8:30, and didn't leave the facility till about 8:30, 9 o'clock that night.
So your head must have been exploding.
Oh, look, I had to leave and come back, Steve. I mean, literally with John Maxwell, the certification training, there's 2.5 more days of training. And it's intense, but it's about 2,000 people from all around the world.
Wow. You mean you're going back?
No, I'm not going back. I had to get back in, and I got some clients I had to take care of here in Baton Rouge. So I had to, unfortunately, I couldn't stay this time. And that was, you know, one of the things about it is that do it twice a year. So I'll be back down there in August. August time frame.
Beautiful.
In August. You know, the other thing I sat through with one of our trainers, or one of our coaches, did a workshop, and his name is Scott Fay. Real dynamic guy. One of the guys that sold John on the even starting a training team, certifying people to be trainers. And I mean, just imagine that. They had to sell John on the idea. And about 4,000 or 5,000 coaches and trainers later, I think John's kind of happy that he did allow them to sell him on that. But he literally told him no about 3 times. And that was one of the things that, you know, I constantly reminded is that no is not permanent. No is not permanent. And I think, you know, Steve, as you talk about a back end, I think back ends are critical because it allows you to continually nudge without having to be a pest.
Bingo. Or nurture. Another word that starts with NU that I use a lot is nurture. You can call that nudge.
You know, so that I think
nurture.
Those
What's that?
Go ahead and share, please share, Steve.
Well, you just said a very key point, one that I talk about a lot. And that is most businesses with their marketing is a one direction where they're pushing a message out. Okay. They're not listening for feedback. And what they're doing is they're trying to get as many yeses as possible. Howard, can you throw a number out there on a marketing campaign, a typical conversion rate where people buy? What would that be percentage-wise, roughly?
It depends, but I mean, a lot of times if you're doing 12 to 15%, you're doing super.
Oh my goodness.
Super. And that's what a list is hot, not warm, but hot. But now on a broad list that's not warm, what you're down 1-2%.
I was going to say 3 to 5%.
Okay.
So you're correct. 1%, 3%, 5%, 12%, 15%. Yeah, man, you're doing phenomenal. So even if we went with the highest number that you said, 15%, if 15% of the people are saying yes, how many of those people are not saying? What percentage are not saying yes?
Let's see, carry the math. That's 85%.
85 it is. All right.
Yes.
Now here's the reality. If 15 say yes and 85 don't say yes, and if you treat that entire 85% as no, your chances for improvement are slim and none. Okay? So most marketing messages out there, they're looking for the yes. It's all they're trying to do is get the yes. They've got no follow-up in place. They've got no nudging. They've got no nurturing. They're not talking to those 85% that did not say yes, because in their mind, they didn't say yes. That must mean no. But it's not no. It's not right now.
Yeah.
Okay? And if you don't go back and engage and nudge and nurture that 85%, that's where your biggest opportunity for improvement is. Because let's just say that there really are the same number of no's as there are yeses. You got 15% no's. Let's say yeses. Let's say you got 15% no's. That means you got 70% of the people out there that aren't either one. They're not yes, they're not no, and you're totally ignoring them. The largest community out there is not yes or no. It's not right now.
Right. Well, and that's the problem with marketing and especially advertising. It really only speaks to the now buyer. And you take a big ticket item like a car all the way down to a small ticket item like milk. Everyone is not in the marketplace for that product or service right now. And so when you have advertising, just direct advertising, traditional advertising, it only speaks to that person that has that need right then. And then what Steve is saying to you is that, it's very true, is that you got to have that communication going, because that other 85% is a lot cheaper to continuously communicate to them than to go out and find another 100.
Now, I can give you a perfect example of a company that does it right, and every single one of us has seen it, and it's Amazon. Right?
Oh, man.
If you go to Amazon and you look at a product and you don't buy it today, what do you notice next week when you're on the computer?
Let's see. Why did that come up? I think it's called retargeting.
It's retargeting. It's remarketing. But Amazon's doing it right. They're like, hey, you used to be interested in this goldfish bowl. You didn't buy this goldfish bowl. How about today? Would you like to buy this goldfish bowl today?
Yeah.
Maybe today's the right day. So they're a company doing it right. They've got a back end in place.
Yeah, they have a huge back end in place, and they're doing it. They're killing it. But that's a great point, and that's just one of the ways in which you would focus on your back end and really continuously communicate to your potential client. And I don't even call it potential, your future client.
Yes. Until they say no.
Exactly.
And if they say no, that's okay. That's okay too. That allows you to go out and focus on somebody that's not yet ready.
And then even then, sometimes you can ask them, do you know someone who wants to?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
One of the things that we always like to do on this, I call it Sunday night call, it's a Monday night call, hangout, is just a couple tips to help people have their best week ever. And one of them I got, and I'm pulling some things I got from John and Scott Fay and Ed DaCosta, who's my sales coach, set in on his training on getting rid of those gremlins. But here's one from Scott, is that you know, a lot of times people are stuck in a place, and he said something that really just truly resonated. Work begot work. And, you know, if you're slow with any kind of work, just do the work in front of you. Just start where you are. And I think too many times business owners want to have everything perfect before they get started. You know, before I do my first hangout, I'm gonna have all the lighting right. I'm gonna have a long list, and I gotta have so many people sign up. And guess what? It never happens. So
Yet here we are sitting with barking dogs, dimly lit, smoky air, and it's coming out just great.
That's it. That is it. So do the work that's in front of you. Start where you are. Start where you are. Let's see, another one that I think is very key is that, you know, we're talking about cash flow, and that's something, you know, business owners, you know, cash flow is king and cash keep is the queen.
Mm.
You know, so I think that is real powerful because cash flow allows you to do things consistently and continuously if you have the proper cash flow. And cash keep allows you to be around next year as that business owner. I think those, you know, it's just, these are just little nuggets that I got. And I challenge you, you know, as you hop on a call with someone, or you, you know, go to a seminar or listen to a webinar, really dive in and say, hey, you know, what did I pull out of that when you get off that call? I mean, what did I get out of that interaction? You know, reflect on it. That's why we call it reflections. You know, I drove to Orlando. It was a crazy drive. It was a last minute trip and had to carry some stuff. So flying was cost prohibitive. But what it does for me when I drive in, it gives me some time, a buffer zone to really just drive and think about what is it I want to get out of this meeting? And then on the way back, what did I get out of it? You know, what actions am I going to take? And actually do that in my notes. I mean, you know, this is just half of the notes that printed out that I took here as you saw me holding up those pages. One of the things they talked about, and I think this will kind of lead us into something else we got coming up this week, is always keep your vision in front of you. You know, where are you going? Always keep your vision in front of you. And I challenge you as business owners is, yeah, you reflect on the past, but focus on the future. You know, when you drive in your car, what happens? You don't stare in the rearview mirror, you glance. That's your past. That's where you've been. You look at the side mirrors, you glance. But where do you focus? You focus on the windshield. That's the big picture. And that's the way our business should be. It's creating that big picture so you can focus on where you're going. Focus on communicating towards the future. What's that game plan to communicate towards the future? And I'm excited about it because I get a chance to hang out with Steve on Thursday night and really do a teaching. I mean, this is a hangout. There's a difference between what we're going to do Thursday night, where we're really going to dive in on a strategy. It's a teaching that we call GPS. You know, goals, purpose, and systems. And Steve, I'm excited about some things. I got some things out of the training here from my coaches and mentors, and just made me rethink about things. Gave me a different perspective as I, you know, that whole GPS analogy as I was driving down to Disney World, if you would, Orlando, as it is otherwise known. So, you know, I'm excited about that. And what time again is that Thursday night, Steve?
Well, I'll tell you what, Howard, why don't we give everybody a link so that they can go check out the time in their time zone.
Okay.
I think it's 7:30 Central, I think. Do you have an index card or a piece of paper you could write a link on and hold it up?
Yeah, but I don't know what that writing is going to be like, but let's do it.
All right, well, just do this. Write the word zaplink.us, zaplink.us/GPS.
All right, let's get that. Let's do another one.
There you go. Show everybody that link.
All right, zaplink.us/GPS.
And if you go there, then you can register Thursday night. I'll be hosting Howard. Oh, hold it up hold it up so we can see it. There you go. zaplink.us/GPS. It is hard to read, Howard. You don't have a big fat marker, do you?
Do that. Just keep talking there, Steve, and I'll.
Yeah, use a big fat marker. So I'm going to be hosting Howard. Howard's going to do all the teaching. I love his systems, and he's got the GPS system, which is going to be your roadmap to success. And I'm expecting a big crowd. I've invited everybody that I know. And if you're watching here today, we'd like to make sure that you come also. There it is, zaplink.us/GPS. You can go there right now and register. Howard, what are some of the things you're going to show them? I know there's some bullet points here. I've got it on my screen. Well, you're going to show them. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, one of the things that we're going to do in the time we're together, we're going to go through a exercise called 2x4.
I love that.
Putting a 2x4 to your goals, which I call the true foundation of goal setting, and it can be used for projects or doing your monthly goals or your quarterly goals, and it's focus on 3 things. Why is the goals important? 2 reasons why. 2 who's. 2 people going to help you achieve those goals. And then 4 things that you're going to do in the next 30 days. So 4 what's. And so we're going to help you actually implement that. And Steve, that just reminds me, I need to send you a copy of that over so you can post it over in the group, so so attendees can actually jump on and have that tool readily available, because it's going to be interactive here. I mean, I want them to work through it. Workshop to me means that you should sweat some, at least have some brain sweat.
Excellent. Well, if you have a handout, then I will. I will send out to everybody, tell them, make sure you register so you get the handout, print it out, and bring it with you to the workshop, because you're going to sweat.
That's it. It's going to be a workshop. But then, no, we're also going to, identify and talk about your purpose. You heard me talk about a vision, but a lot of people struggle with connecting with their purpose in business and personally. And really, when you hear that vision, people say, vision, a vision statement, why? Well, vision is really a pictorial representation of your purpose. And that's why a vision has to be clear. It has to be vivid. It has to be in the future, because it's a pictorial representation of your purpose. And you're growing into that vision. The vision hasn't happened yet. And that's the exciting thing about it. We have that opportunity to create that. And as we walk and operate in our purpose. So, that's one of the things that we're going to talk about. And then we're going to walk into beginning to help put some systems in place in your business. And, I have a retail store, and those are things that I'm constantly working on to improve it. But one of the things I found is it's as always, it's easier to help others than it is to help yourself. That's why we have to hire coaches for ourselves. People say, well, you do that for other people. Yeah, key thing, other people. But for yourself is tough. And, so what we're going to do is walk through and break some of those things down to help you get started to implement systems in your business. So those are just some of the things on a nutshell. And like I said, it's going to be work. It's going to be work. And if you show up, I can guarantee you that you're going to get some things that will help jumpstart your business that week. So Thursday, Friday, you'll be in implementing these things and then ready to have your best week ever next week.
Beautiful.
And that's the key thing.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. And once again, got to link up, hanging out with my man, Steve Rosenbaum from Waxahachie, Texas.
That's right. Say that 4 times fast.
Yeah, that's a tongue twister. But no, Steve, I want to say thanks again for just jumping on with us, man. We were talking last week, and this wasn't something planned out a long time. Sometimes some of the best interactions are impromptu and spontaneous. So be open to that, both virtually and in the physical space. Sometimes you may, as you're talking with the client, you ask them a couple questions, you may uncover needs. And remember, what is the answer? The answer is what? Always yes. Go through this week, always yes. Say it with a smile. and see when you do that, I mean, try that tomorrow. I want you to try that tomorrow. No matter what someone walks to you, you just say yes. If you say it with a smile, they're going to stop back and just think, okay, why is he saying yes? They're going to think deeper about what they've just asked you. And then it gives you a chance to ask questions. Okay, why do we want to do that? How are we going to do that? And remember, if your team comes to you with a challenge or a problem, how many solutions they need to bring to the table? 3
solutions.
That's it. Bring 3 solutions. And try doing that with your client. Just imagine that a client has a challenge and you say, I'm going to develop 3 solutions. Good, better, and best.
Beautiful.
Good, better, and best. And so, but you want to present the best. And then if it doesn't work for their budget, you can say, hey, now this was the best solution for you. Not quite right for your budget. So we can back up a little bit and come down to better. If that doesn't work, we can go to good. Below that, I don't think you should be even doing it. And just try that. I mean, that's just one strategy just to try, and you'll see the amazing results you'll get out of it. But no, excited about Thursday, Steve. Everyone, you can go ahead and jump on the call. It's a workshop call, meeting, whichever title you want to put on it. We're going to hang out for about an hour, but really spend some time sharing, this system with you. We call it the GPS because it helped provide guidance for your business. As we're going through this journey, turn by turn, we get off track sometimes. So you got to have something that's going to help you recalibrate and get back on track towards those goals to make sure that you operate in purpose. And the only thing that's really going to do that is a system. So that's what we're going to spend time doing. They can go over to zaplink.us/GPS. I want to show that up again. zaplink.us/GPS. Steve, any last closing thoughts?
Can I share 2 things that I like to tell
Sure.
people that follow me to help them have your best week ever? Because I love the fact that you're focusing on week-long time period. So I've got 2 tips, if that's all right.
No, please. No, I'm getting my notepad out, guys. Right here.
Well, one of them, Howard, and this one you may have heard of before. Maybe you even teach this, Howard. But try to start every week. Try to start every Monday with some sort of success, right? Something that you could start the week off with some sort of success. If it's a sale, fantastic. If it's just getting something accomplished, fantastic. All right. But first thing Monday morning, try to start off with something successful, right? Howard, do you teach something like that? Because that's fairly common, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, the law of momentum.
Right.
It creates that momentum for you.
Right. So now let me teach you something that will help make more Mondays a success. Something that's going to make Monday success kind of a layup. Okay. And this is something to end your week with on Friday. And this is something I taught Sergio, who used to work for me. And that is every Friday, send out a message to everybody you know. Wish them a good week. Tell them some good things that happened for you. Ask them how you could help them. And I'll bet you there's a good chance that come Monday, you've got some layups in your email inbox. All right. So be sincere about it. You really want them to have a good week. Tell them all the reasons why they're special, but don't forget to ask how you can help them. Because there's a good chance they're going to reply and let you know.
You have examples of that email you've sent out before, Steve?
Well, I can tell you kind of anecdotally.
Yeah. If you would.
Okay. So Sergio, who worked for me, I was in the building materials business, and Sergio was one of my salesmen. I tell a few stories about Sergio because he was a rock star. Sergio was a guy that literally came here from Cuba on a raft, literally. He came here from Cuba, and he had a very, very thick accent, and it bothered him. It bothered him. He didn't like the fact that he had an accent. And I told him, no, Sergio, that actually gives you an advantage. Because what's that?
I said it differentiates you, it sets you apart.
It doesn't only differentiate you, but people had to focus on Sergio to understand. They had to listen to him hard. They had to lean in and listen. Okay. Whereas my other salesmen, they're talking away, and typically the customers got their cell phone. I'm going, right, yeah, right, and they're not listening. But Sergio has this thick accent. They couldn't be text messaging. They couldn't be distracted. They had to listen hard to hear Sergio. So I said, Sergio, no matter what you do, don't you change your accent. In fact, I'm going to start talking with a Cuban dialect from now on. But so that was one thing. But Sergio was literally the bottom rung on the totem pole. He was literally number 32 salesman out of 32 when I met him. But he was hungry. That's the type of guy that comes over from Cuba. He's hungry, okay? And he really wanted to learn. And I told all my salespeople to do that. All of them, all 32. You know how many did? Sergio. Sergio was the only one who did that. And every Friday, he would send out an email to all the builders, because we sold building materials. We sold doors and windows and things like that. And every Friday, he would send out an email saying, hey, I just want to wish you a great weekend, let you know how much I appreciate your business. Okay. By the way, this week, I helped somebody with a custom home that, used this type of door, this type of window, and somebody else who bought this type of lumber from us. And so, whatever you're working on right now, let me know so I can help you out first thing next week. He'd come in Monday and he'd have a stack full of emails from builders who said, hey, Sergio, thanks so much for that email. Yeah, I've got a house going up over at this address. Go over there and measure the doors and take an order for me. And he started the whole week with 5 or 6 builders that were ready to place orders with him just from that one Friday email. Every week.
That's one heck of a layup, man. I'm at to.
That's a layup.
I got to incorporate that myself. So I'll let you know how that goes.
Well, it'll help make your best week ever.
That's it. That is it. I like to try things and then try it, teach it, try it, teach it. That's the only way to get gooder at it.
Communication, as far as what I'm concerned, if you communicate, if you touch base with people, if you call them, if you send out emails, you're going to improve your business because your competition is not doing it.
Yeah. Friday, they already headed to the golf course or to happy hour.
Well, that's where the other 31 guys work.
So no, we're definitely going to use that there, Steve, and hopefully, our listeners will use that technique. I mean, that's a great technique to really jumpstart your week. I mean, that's what Steve's saying. Jumpstart your week. I mean, get off to that big lead. In sports, that's what you want to do. You want to come out the gate clicking and take the advantage of momentum. When it's going good, that's the time to accelerate.
Well, and if you do it if you take that one little step on Friday, go back to baseball. It's like coming up with guys on second and third. Monday morning you're up, men on second and third with nobody out, right? And so you got a good chance of bringing in some runs.
Yeah, I mean, in high school you got to score. If you don't score, something went wrong. You got to score when that happens, and you get 3 or 4 of those calls like that on a Monday morning. You got to score that week. And then the great thing about it, those calls are going to be in your emails. Hey, on Monday morning, early this week, I was able to help John do this. Now Carolyn wants you to help her because you helped John. So, gosh, I mean, that's a huge domino effect. And that's, okay, yeah, I got it written down. So that's, I'm already thinking about Friday.
Every single week.
And then, and the thing about that too is that, but you're intentional during the week of trying to serve people so you can genuinely say that you help someone. I think that was the thing about Sergio. He was genuinely helping builders and probably going out his way a lot of times to help them, which probably helped him build his business.
Absolutely, 100% true.
So what's that extra yard you can go?
Right.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and close this hangout out and let you get on to your best week ever. One day down in the week, Monday's down, but hey, the rest of the week is wide open. You know, as we always say, you can go over and pull a copy of, go over to Have Your Best Week Ever and pull a copy of the Growth Planner. And one of the things that you should do tonight is write down those 10 phone calls you're going to make tomorrow. Write them down tonight and put the number by them. Put the person's phone number. You don't want to go back in your phone and look. And start to making the calls. And I can guarantee you, if you make 10 calls, just block off an hour, you're not going to get everybody on the phone, but you're going to connect with at least 3 or 4 of those people before the end of the day is over with. And just think about consistently doing that to have communications. So you're really getting that funnel full. And then you really need to have the back end in place so you can keep talking to them and communicating to them to develop that long-term relationship. Well, Steve, let me know if you have anything else. If not, I'm going to talk to you a little bit later this week. Look forward to sharing 7:30 Thursday Central Time, 7:30 Central Time. Let's see, I got the link here still. Hey, you guys can go over, register for the call. That's zaplink.us/GPS. And we're going to help you put that GPS system in your business to help you have significant growth. I mean, that's what it's about, is a strategy and a game plan so you can have significant growth in your business. Steve, thanks for hanging out, man. And like you had a chance to knock out a good stogie. I hate I was inside. Otherwise, I've been doing the same. And, you know, when I was down in Orlando this week, my favorite, if you get down there, I know you get down there occasionally, there's a super great cigar bar called Corona. They have one downtown. I haven't been to that one yet. Another one's on West Sand Lake Road. Great location, great people. And, you know, I sat there on a Friday night, well, no, Saturday night this week, and was talking to someone else that was traveling in from out of town from North Carolina. And we sat there, and a guy named Greg, and literally just shared a cigar. 2 strangers met and knew a couple people in common, you know, in a distance, and exchanged information, you know, committed to stay in touch. So
Beautiful.
That's what cigar bars are about.
Well, come on down and visit. Let's have another one.
We definitely will do that. I'll be in Texas sometime this late spring, but we're going to help some people get their GPS on track so when they travel, they don't get lost.
And I'm going to come visit you in August, I think, right? But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. You're going to be hanging out with us here in Baton Rouge, so we'll have to make sure we have some, get out to a couple of good cigar spots here in town. They're not my clients yet, so we may have to go in and actually do some business with, talk with them about doing some business.
Yeah, well, you know what you should do? I should have showed you. Get some with your picture on it. Make it your business card. We'll get you a box of cigars with your picture on it.
Yeah, we'll do that. The custom branded cigars that Babalu does. I remember that now.
Absolutely.
So my daughter a box of those. Yeah, for the next golf outing, and be the premium.
Beautiful.
All right, well, Steve, I'm gonna talk to you later, and but look forward to sharing, with your team and individuals that you help, and I want to help them, move forward and really just be on track so they can have their best week ever, but more importantly, they can achieve their life goals, because that is the main reason you're in business, to achieve your life goals, not to work 80, 90 hours a week.
Exactly right.
So, Steve, I'll let you have the last word here as we close out. Don't have your best week ever. This on the 14th of March here.
My last word is thank you. Thank you, Howard, and thank you to everybody who's watching. Thanks for inviting me in and let me tell my stories. I appreciate it. I love to tell my stories.
I'm going to challenge everyone to go out and have their best week ever. I'll actually be on the radio in the morning on Tuesday morning. Gosh, I just realized that. You can always catch us at 7 a.m. on WTQT.org. That's WTQT.org. Or on the TuneIn app. And that's at 7 a.m. Central. But as always, in closing, I love to say this, and I truly mean it. Go out and be the best you possible, because everybody else is taken.
Love it, Howard. Thank you, buddy.
Hey, take care. God bless, and we shall see you guys later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.